Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Fiona was at the hospital, pouring coffee for Xander and Maggie, who were anxious to hear about Sarah, who had been under surgery for 5 hours. Maggie took full responsibility for her actions. Sarah would not have gone back to her vehicle and driven to the Kyriakis home to assist Maggie in finding the Horton cabin key if she hadn't forgotten it. Maggie was reassured by Xander that the driver of the vehicle that struck Sarah was the only one at fault. A tense Fiona implored her son to have kind thoughts for Sarah after Xander vowed to take vengeance on the driver. Kayla came with news concerning Sarah, while Fiona relived the moment she discovered she had struck someone. Sarah had severe internal injuries, but her health remains stable. Assuming that there's no complications, I think she will absolutely fully recover, Kayla said. While Fiona attempted to provide solace in the waiting area, Maggie let Xander spend time with Sarah first. Maggie was still in disbelief about what had transpired. Who would leave someone in the street, bleeding and alone, and not call for help? Maggie questioned Fiona, who seemed guilty. Jana came over, and Kayla urged her to hold off on talking to Sarah for a while. Maggie inquired as to Jada's lead generation skills. When Fiona heard Jada tell Maggie that Sarah may be able to identify the driver of the automobile that had struck her, Fiona became terrified. Fiona kept having flashbacks of her search for Sarah after the accident. Sarah awoke just in time to see Xander enter the space. After informing Sarah of what had occurred, Xander reassured her that everything would be okay. Sarah stated she only needed him when Xander asked if she needed anything else. Sarah was promised the honeymoon of her dreams by Xander. When Sarah found out that Bonnie was keeping an eye on Victoria, she became a bit worried, but she quickly fell asleep. After speaking with Jada in the waiting area, Xander left the room to allow Sarah to go to sleep. Jana informed Xander that she intended to locate film from the security cameras of nearby businesses, since the city's cameras had not captured the incident. When Jada questioned Xander whether he knew anything about Sarah's whereabouts the previous evening, he revealed that Sarah had been assisting Maggie in her search for the keys to the Horton cottage. When Sarah had not returned soon, Maggie had alerted Xander to the fact that Sarah had never even reached the mansion, so he had gone in search of her. Speaking together, Jada and Xander discovered that the driver had remained there when Xander had located Sarah. Some 20 minutes after Sarah had departed Horton Town Square, they concluded that after hearing Xander come, the driver had left the scene despite trying to assist Sarah. Fiona spoke up and stated she didn't think it was a good idea when Jada revealed that she was going to meet Sarah. Why wouldn't Fiona want the police to interview Sarah? Xander questioned. Fiona said that it was inappropriate for Sarah to respond to inquiries at this time since she had just experienced a terrible event. Jada said that Sarah's physician had cleared her to be questioned and that the earlier Jada questioned Sarah, the greater the likelihood of locating the driver. Xander and Jada entered the room as Maggie and Sarah were seated. Jana questioned Sarah about her memories. Sarah said that after turning to check because she thought she heard a vehicle approaching, she was on the ground. Sarah stated she couldn't recall much more other than that the automobile seemed to be gray. Just as Xander was covering Sarah's legs with warm blankets when Kayla came, Sarah complained that her body was chilly. But when Sarah discovered she couldn't feel the covers, it scared her. Sarah claimed not to be able to feel Xander's hands when he stroked her legs. Sarah's legs remained immobile as well. As Kayla tested Sarah's reflexes, she didn't feel anything. Brady awoke in the parking garage of his building, sitting behind the wheel, suffering from a headache and unable to recall the events of the previous evening. Recalling his time spent drinking at small bar, he was frightened to think he may have driven under the influence. Jana was at the site of the collision and informed a colleague officer that the roadway needed to be kept blocked while the Salem Police Department conducted an accident reconstruction before she left for the hospital. Jada informed the mayor what had transpired and gave her the assurance that the police were on the scene when Paulina dropped by. Paulina was informed by Jada that while the motorist did not have an ID and there were no witnesses, the Salem Police Department was requesting that anybody with information come forward. They intended to use security camera video as well. When Kayla phoned to reassure Jada that Kayla would be well, both ladies felt a sense of relief. When Marlena opened her door and saw Kristen and Rachel waiting there, she was taken aback and thrilled. Rachel had woken up weeping, and Kristen had explained, demanding to see Brady right now. "I had a nightmare that something bad happened to Daddy," Rachel said. Rachel replied she only wanted to meet her father when Marlena urged her to tell her about the dream. Marlena proposed that she and Rachel prepare breakfast while they wait for Brady, assuming he was asleep in his room. Brady came in the front door looking sleepy after Marlena and Rachel had departed for the kitchen. To Brady's surprise, Kristen was seated there. "Why do you look like a deer caught in the headlights?" Kristen inquired. Brady asked Kristen why she was there, and she said that Rachel had asked to see him. Although Brady was relieved to see Rachel and Marlena in the kitchen, he told Kristen a falsehood about his whole evening's activities. He informed Kristen that he had spent the whole night working as Xander's stand-in. Brady also informed Kristen that Basic Black was returning and will provide new challenges for Gabby Chick. Marlena reappeared in the room after Brady had gone, searching for Rachel. When the young girl did come out, she informed them that Brady was not in his room and had not spent the previous night in his bed. Rachel was informed by Kristen that she had no business knowing where Brady slept. Kristen recommended they go out. Rachel, unflinching, said that she wouldn't return home until she had seen her father. Brady entered the living room just then. Relieved he was all right, Rachel jumped into his arms. Brady admitted to sleeping in his bed to Rachel, but he had immediately made the bed after waking up. Kristen attempted to change the topic, but Rachel wasn't buying it since Brady had never been like that. Brady reassured Rachel that everything was okay after Kristen revealed to him that Rachel had dreamed that something horrible had occurred. Rachel invited Brady to stay with her for the day. He was totally on board, but since she and Rachel had other plans, Kristen shot it down. As Rachel said Brady farewell, she expressed her relief that he had not been smushed by a giant steamroller, as she had imagined. Marlena informed Brady about Rachel's unhappiness upon her arrival after Kristen and Rachel's departure. Marlena admitted to Brady that she had been concerned about him as well, given how late he had been getting home lately. Brady reassured Marlena that everything was well, so she went out of the room to give John his medication. Brady contacted Fiona while he was alone himself and had a single inquiry. Brady questioned, "What the hell happened last night?" Brady admitted to Fiona that he had drunk at Small Bar, but he couldn't remember taking the car home. If he had woken up in his garage, Fiona informed him he had to have driven home. Lying? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.